The middle of the draft is not when I expected breaking news to drop, but it did just drop. Plus, we do have a couple more picks to talk about from tonight's draft. So hit subscribe if you're looking for daily 49ers content. I very much appreciate it. It does actually really help me out, and it's totally free. It doesn't cost you anything. But let's talk about the news that just came out of Adam Schefter's mouth, or Ian Rappaport's mouth. Oopsies. And Mike Garafolo saying, worth noting, the 49ers tight end George Kittle was back in the building today for off-season conditioning. There you go, as the two sides discuss a contract extension. Listen, I'm going to get into the other picks from tonight. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I want to give George Kittle credit where credit is due. I want to give the 49ers credit where credit is due, because if I had $1 for every single time that the 49ers were in a situation where the contract holdout looked impending, there's been a lot of them, and this felt like this could have been another one, and you would understand because all the reports are that these two parties are really far away. I'm not going to say, until somebody like Mike Silver says this means they're close, I'm not going to say this means they're close or anything like that. However, I love what's happening here right now. This is George Kittle being a team player. This is George Kittle showing up and being a part of what's going on and not wanting to miss a beat. Yes, he did miss the first official day or whatever the other day. I get that. Okay, whatever. We can go back and forth on that one if you really want to. But if I'm looking at the overall theme here, I'm seeing the players are returning. Fred Warner still working on a contract. He's gonna let the big dogs handle that, and he's gonna play football. George Kittle, they're still working on a contract. George Kittle is there. He's there for off-season workouts. He's not acting like he's injured like we've seen before last offseason. So I'm stoked that these guys are back in the building, and I'm really excited because George Kittle was the only one that was really grabbing headlines in terms of players that were not present at the very, very beginning. And to see him back in the building, it's worth reporting, it's worth noting, and don't tell me it's not, because otherwise Ian Rappaport wouldn't have written it down. Like, when you guys comment on the videos and like, this isn't good news, this isn't, then why are they reporting on it? Tell me that. Okay, but I'm going to get off my high horse here because I want to talk about pick number 75. The San Francisco 49ers, with the 75th pick in the NFL draft, have chosen Nick Martin, linebacker out of Oklahoma State. An interesting note on what's happened so far, starting with an edge, which is what I was hoping was going to happen, because I think they just tend to be a little bit more freakish athletes, then a tackle, and then a linebacker, and the next pick is a corner. That's really interesting just in and of itself. Okay, but let's talk about, again, you don't want my random opinions about things. Let's talk about what we can see. One of the things we can see is the data. He ran a 4.5 40, a 1.54 10-yard split. You know that's a metric that the 49ers care about. A 38-inch vertical. Interesting when you compare him to a few picks later, Upton Stout. We'll talk about him in a second. Interesting, the comparison on those combine numbers, okay? But his athleticism score ranks 5th out of linebackers. His production score ranks 7th out of all linebackers, ranking 6th in total out of linebackers per NFL.com, which I think is interesting there. If you look at the player bio, the thing that sticks out was his 2023 incredible season. First team, I can't read that. That's too far away. First team all Big 12 conference, ranked 7th in FBS with 140 total tackles, most at OSU since 1984, and ranked 3rd with 83 solo tackles. Led team with 16 tackle for losses, tied for the team lead with 6 sacks, team captain, started all 14 games, 2 interceptions, forced fumble. That right here, that stuff right there is exactly what got that guy signed by the San Francisco 49ers right there. It's not about the stuff that happened below that in 2024 when he did not play the majority of the season, or a good chunk of it at least, because of a knee injury. It was the stuff that happened there in 2023 that the 49ers are hoping is going to come back in the future. We'll have to wait and see, because if it does come back in the future, then D. Winters has himself some competition. We'll have to wait to see, because he's going to have to earn that opportunity in Robert Saleh's defense. You know it. Relating to the strengths, all of the strengths are worth kind of noting. None of them are like kind of standouts from one of the others. Obviously, we talked about the award-winning tackle production already for 2023. Physical player with the twitchy trigger to play, burst to close and tackle runners on second level, will rush downhill and challenge plays in the backfield, bend and base strength to play under the block, capable of heating up the pocket as a blitzer. The big weakness that sticks out to you is just the injury from 2024. Out a good chunk of season, played 5 games with a knee injury. And so, there's that downside there. That injury downside is always a little bit of a risk, of course, but any player can get injured at any time. So I'm going to withhold judgment at the moment and say there's something that they saw in him in 2023 that they're excited about. Robert Saleh's getting his dudes, man. He has an edge, he has a tackle, he has a linebacker, and now he also has a corner. With the 100th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers have selected Upton Stout, cornerback out of Western Kentucky. This guy ran a 4.4 40, a little faster. Of course, he's a corner, different situation, but ran a 4.4 40. He's also a lot lighter, to be fair, too. A 1.51 10-yard split, almost a 38-inch vertical, 10-foot, 8-inch broad jump. Okay, so there you go. He also threw a 4.29 shuttle run out there. But what I think is interesting is, again, now we're 4 picks in. The 49ers had an opportunity. I want to just go back a second. We're going to talk more about Upton Stout, but the 49ers had an opportunity. They were looking at this draft saying, we have 4 picks in the top 100. 4 picks in the top 100. And every pick, there's no guarantee in any pick, but the further you get down, obviously, the less likely they are to hit. And so, in that top 100, you have an incredible opportunity. We're talking about the top 70 percentile, right? Like up there. Okay. That's the type of players we're talking about. Well, here they go. They've taken an edge, a tackle, a linebacker, and a cornerback. And let's get into the details. An undersized cornerback who spent much of his time playing wide corner. Stout has the twitch and athleticism to project inside. What he lacks in length, and that's something you're going to come back to, he lacks in length. He makes up for with his competitiveness. He's a natural pattern reader with the hips and feet to match breaks without giving up much separation. There are times he fails to trust his cover talent, holding and grabbing without cause. He's fairly instinctive and has the short area burst to squeeze throwing windows. Stout's physical profile could hurt his draft standing, but the determination and athleticism will be hard to ignore. Which sounds, so many aspects of this remind me of certain descriptions of Deommodore Lenoir, but I'm not going to make the connection, the comparison. I'm just throwing out some things that feel similar. Okay. Smooth in his back pedal, transitions from pedal, loose hips, swivel easily for sudden turns in coverage. I can't wait to hear, by the way, what Eric Crocker thinks about this guy. I really want to know what his thoughts are on this one. Anticipates route breaks and runs the pattern with them. Searches for playmaking opportunities with his eye forward. Plays with quick trigger feet and a healthy burst to close. Competes versus hard-to-beat blocks and throws his body around as a tackler. And you know what? The 49ers are in a good position to be able to take a cornerback depth right now. They can do that. They're in a position to do that right now, which is helpful. But they are, of course, looking for somebody when they're in the nickel package who's going to be there. So anyway, he will have some missed tackles due to a lack of length. That's the main glaring weakness to be looking out for. So there you have it, 49ers folks. Happy to bring good news about George Kittle and, of course, update you on some picks. We've got a lot to break down over the coming days. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on all of that, as I mentioned earlier. If you haven't watched my other video about Alfred Collins, you should go do that. But 32 days until OTAs as I'm recording this right now, and I'm hyped about it. It's time for bed. It's been a long day. It's been like a 15-hour day. Ready for bed, and I look forward to waking up in the morning and getting after it again with you all along the way. I look forward to seeing your comments as always. Appreciate you guys and hope you guys have a fantastic evening.